Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. It's time for another edition of This Week in Master Duel. So, this is the weekly video series in which we cover, well, all the, of course, latest happenings in the last week of Master Duel. And when it comes to editions that are particularly in the week following a new pack release, I really like to take an extra emphasis to talk about how the meta is shaping up as a result of the new pack having come out, right? So, of course, we will, as always, ever start here in clients. We're going to look at some of these notifications, see what has been going on lately. And then after that, we'll pop on over to Untap, take a look at their meta tier list based on win rate and all that fun stuff. And then we have some tournament results over on Master Duel Meta to watch just after that. So, or to look at rather, not really watch. It's not like we're watching live games or anything, but yeah, let's just go ahead and pop on over here to notifications. Of course, the biggest update last week was the new selection pack dropping, the Revived Legion pack, which brought us the SP Little Knight. I was going to say the dreaded SP Little Knight, although some decks were really looking forward to having this extra deck option. I'm particularly thinking of, like, Unchained, for example, which we actually just covered right before SP came out. We'll cover it soon, you know, now that SP is out. But that's an example of a deck that, you know, typically ends on, basically decks that end on IP, or in Unchained's case, the Unchained Soul of Rage, really benefit from being able to go into the SP Little Knight. It has had a huge meta impact for a number of decks there. The Horus archetype has actually had more meta impact, a little bit more than I anticipated, but it is definitely been cropping up not only in tier limits and stun, but in a number of variants there. So we'll get to see some of those here. Salman Great Raging Phoenix, of course, being a new Link 4 for the Snake Eye deck to go into. But on top of that, Salamangreat, another archetype that has been performing better than I thought it would, at least for me personally. I've been playing a bunch of stuff from the new pack and have been loving pretty much all of it. Memento's been pretty fun as well, so we're definitely going to take a look at some of those decks here when we look at some of the just ranked ladder and tournament meta breakdown. But yeah, as far as this pack goes, like, I don't know, I've seen some people say that, like, oh, you can just craft SP and skip this pack. Some people saying, oh, this is, like, a great pack to pull from. I think that it really ends up coming down to what decks you are interested in building. Like, I mean, duh, right? Of course, that's true of every selection pack. If you're not interested in the decks in the pack, then you don't buy the pack. But, I think some people maybe are particularly confused as to, like, how much of a meta impact the cards from this set will have. And it really just varies deck to deck, right? Like, for a lot of people, yeah, you could probably just craft the SP and not have to pull anything, and that's about the only new card you'd put in some of your pre-existing decks. But the Horus package, if you're playing pretty much any graveyard-oriented deck, like Tearlament, Phantom Knight, of course, the Horus archetype has created some new decks too, like Horus Stun, as I mentioned, Horus Naturia, which is actually something I've been having a lot of fun with in a deck we're going to cover pretty soon here, probably just tomorrow if I had to guess, but yeah, I don't know. So I guess it kind of comes down to, like, because I've also seen people ask, like, how generic is the Horus engine? Like, is it as important to pick up as, like, the Bestial package, for example? And I don't think it's quite as universal as Bestials were when they first came out. Again, you have to remember that when Bestials first came out, we were in the middle of Tier 0 meta. So with Tier 1 being the best deck, you know, pretty much every deck cared about the Bestials in at least some capacity, even if they wouldn't normally run them. But for Horus cards, I think it, again, does end up being a little bit more specific. Like, again, if you are playing a deck where you want to either mill a bunch of cards via the Zombie Vampire, or just want to turbo out a like rank ace in general, then yeah, Horus is definitely a good pickup there. But that was not the only new addition. Of course, we did also have a pretty big version update. In the last This Week in Master Duel video, I already covered, like, a lot of the biggest changes here, including new animations, dual log improvements, and all that kind of fun stuff. So feel free to check out that last week's video if you are interested in hearing more about that. They did throw in a couple of new accessories as well. I really like the King Sarcophagus deck box. I think it looks sick. Gaddock, it's always fun to have another little guy for an icon choice. And even though I'm generally not a fan of sleeves that are just like the card art, the Imsteady sleeve just really, well, Excuse me, I'm hiccuping here. Oh, goodness. The Imsendi sleeves definitely do not look too bad. Whew, gonna need a sip of water here. Alright. We did also get a new secret pack. The food pack. Food duelist eating good. Able to cook pretty well with the new secret pack that we got there. Featuring Novelis and the sous ships. It's really funny, too, that, like, sous ship is an archetype that's kind of notorious for, like, not having any URs at all. So, like, their featured cards, like, 2 of the featured cards for this pack are, like, a rare and an SR. Or maybe it's the other way around, I don't remember. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, this is only really good if you're interested in pretty much exactly Novelis. You don't even really have to pull packs to make sous ship. Again, they don't have any URs, but it's a cute pack. It's not a horrible edition, you know? It's fun, right? So... Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't even on the announcement page, although to be fair, it just shows the same 5 cards we were looking at earlier. But other announcements we've had here in-app regarding the World Championship 2024 qualifiers. Those are coming up here in June. Now, I mean, I've said this last year, I said this a lot in the time between last year and now. I really don't like that to qualify for Worlds, you basically have to do this 48-hour grind and play Yu-Gi-Oh! Non-stop in order to have even a shot at making Worlds. I really wish that for Master Duel, we would have, like, tournament structure similar to, like, TCG, where there's regionals and WCQs. I think that tournaments are overall better because they don't require you to play for dangerous amounts of time. Like, I don't know. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's not healthy to do anything for 48 hours straight, but playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Is definitely not something that is healthy to do for that long, and I really don't like that Konami is encouraging this. There have been other games that have had similar ways of qualifying for world tournaments, and they have since ousted those practices because players get hospitalized for sitting at their computers and playing games for 2 days straight. Generally not an advisable thing to do. I know this will probably be a disappointment to some people, but I am not going to be trying for World Championship qualifiers. I value my mental health and physical health, really, honestly, too highly to subject myself to playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For 48 hours straight. So that is my stance on that. Again, this is probably something that those of you who have been subscribed to the channel for a while know I already feel this way. So I won't go too much further into that. We did get a new board, finally! I was actually just talking about this relatively recently, how it's been so long since Yu-Gi-Oh! Has had a new board, but the Pyrozine Cave, a field with an underground cave filled with extraordinary light, formed by the hand of nature over countless years. This cave will sometimes also play a hand in creation of a new monster. Oh, that's interesting. So I don't think this is particularly tied to any one archetype, but it's a cool field nonetheless. I actually kind of like the fields that are more generic and not tied to a certain deck. Because, like, for example, using the Sword Soul field, if you're not playing Sword Soul, feels a little weird to me. But this field is, like, totally generic, right? So, it also plays a really nice little melody if you click on the crystals. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that yet, but it's cool. I like this field a lot. And we currently have the Limit 1 Festival underway. Limit 1, when it was around last time, was one of my favorite festivals for introducing a lot of unique deck building. However, this time around, it hasn't really been the case. Like, I'll just show you some of the Limit 1 decks that I've been playing, including, where are they? Here we go. Snake Eye Rescue Ace. Yeah, this is probably a deck that people have been seeing a lot in the festival, but, you know, it turns out that engines and archetypes have gotten a lot more consistent in the last couple of years since the last Limit 1 festival, and one-card combos are a lot more of a thing. So you can just build a meta deck with only one-ofs, and, like, you'll do fine in the event, which is a little disappointing. You know, I definitely don't really like that, because I really liked how fun deck building was last time. Also, don't play Orbital Hydrolander. Like, I only played it in Tier Limit, and I still don't think it was worth it to play it there. Yes, I know it's a Highlander card, and yes, it would fit in this event, you would think, but I really just don't think it's a good card. Like, even if your deck is all one-ofs, it's just not good enough, so. And then we played Math Mech a little bit as well, just Cyber stuff in general. Like, Cyber's piles are pretty wide open as far as the Limit 1 event goes, because there's so many different archetypes, right? There's Math Mech, there's Salads, there's Code Talker, there's Ignister, there's Marensis. It's like, you have a lot of opportunities to mix and match there. So that's what I've been doing for the Limit 1 Festival, but I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover in Engine. So let's pop on over to Untapped here. As you can see, I've already pre-sorted for Diamond and Master Rank only. This is the current meta, so since the new pack here, been actually exactly a week at the time of recording here. So how has that week shaped out? Well, a lot of people might be surprised to see Manadium at the top of this list here, having the highest win rate. Although one thing I will say, and I think I said in a past video, like, oh, why wouldn't you always sort by win rate and figure out the meta that way? The popularity and meta rate percentage ratings, like, they do kind of correlate in some way, right? Like, when you have so few people playing Manadium, it's actually more likely the win rate will skew upward because the few people who are still playing Manadium now are probably pretty dedicated to the deck and pretty good at it, right? So just because Manadium has the highest win rate doesn't mean it's necessarily the best deck. However, if we look at Snake Eye, which has a much higher popularity rating, 24%, and a pretty comparable win rate, like, you gotta figure the more people that are playing a deck, the more the deck overall, honestly, is gonna do a little bit worse than better. Like, as opposed to only the people who are at the best at the deck playing with it. And I'm not saying only the people who are good at Manadium are the only ones playing it, but again, when the popularity rating is 1.5% for Manadium, as opposed to 24.4% for Snake Eye, you got to assume that there are more bad Snake Eye players contributing than more bad Manadium players contributing, if that makes sense. But yeah, no, I think this is like very indicative of Snake Eye's strength right now. A lot of people are going to Snake Eye because of the SP, Little Knight, and Raging Phoenix being added. You'll notice that Rescue Ace's popularity rating has tanked. Like, I think last time I covered... Actually, the last time I covered would have been last week, right? I don't remember what the Untapped popularity rating, but I know when Rescue Ace first came out, it was like in the neighborhood of like, what, 15%? I think even higher than that. So to see it down to 11, you know, the new deck hype has definitely worn off, but I definitely don't think it means that Rescue Ace is a bad deck. I mean, I say it's like, oh, it's all the way down to 11.7%, but really, that's still like the second highest popularity number on here, right? So, Rescue Ace still, definitely I think is the second best deck in this meta, behind Snake Eye there. And again, it's mostly going to be because of that going second win rate. Like, look at this. Snake Eye with a 50% going second win rate. That's insanely good. Actually, I don't know if, like... I don't know how many people realize how insane it is to have a 50% going second win rate. That, for a deck that isn't specifically going second, that's really, really high. As opposed to if you look at Rescue Ace here, I don't even know what it's going to be at 43.5%. Definitely, I think the fact that Snake Eye can go second a lot better than Rescue Ace can is what ends up making it the top tier 1 deck of this particular meta. Tier Limit has also gotten a very, very nice boost in popularity rating that is mostly going to be, of course, due to the Horus cards. Horus has, of course, not only bolstered Tier Limit, but also a couple of other decks that are particularly graveyard-based. I'm thinking of, like... Oh, it's not even represented on here. I was going to look for Phantom Knight, but I don't even see it on here. Wow. There have been stun. Yeah, stun variants with the Horus cards have been... I was going to say at least somewhat of a thing, but, like, I'm not even seeing them here in the 13.5%. Like, it's not even above 13.5%, so definitely the minority of stun decks are using the Horus engine, but Horus has definitely enabled a lot of really, really cool stuff. Tier Limit is probably the most notable among them. I think, in particular, the TCG is what makes Horus Tier Limit so popular in Master Duel right now, because in the TCG, right, Horus Tier Limit was the way to go because Kikolos was banned. In Master Duel, we obviously have the Kikolos legal, right? So, in that regard, you don't necessarily have to play Horus cards to the same degree, but it is still a very, very good and a very fun engine. I'm not a Tier Limit expert at all. If I had to guess for Master Duel, I would say that Horus is probably not optimal to play. You might actually still just be better off playing like pure Tearlament, like pretty much the same way you would play it before, with like the very small Shaddoll package of like Beast and maybe Hollow, as well as like, again, just basically the same kind of tier deck you would play before. But I think much like the Synchro variant, the Horus Tearlament deck is going to be another variant that, while not optimal, is still very good. Like, you would definitely still hit Master 1 and or top a tournament with Horus Tearlament, right? But I still think that if you're looking to play the best Tearlament deck possible, Pure is probably the way to go. But again, take that with a grain of salt. This is coming from a non-expert, right? So, yeah, I don't know. As far as like Snake Eye goes, again, the deck hasn't really changed except for the addition of SP and also the Raging Phoenix. Now, Raging Phoenix and Ambluale, as you can see, are like kind of 50-50 in terms of like how often they're played. Very, very occasionally a deck will play both, but I have had people ask me, which is the better Fire Link for to go into? Is it Ambluale for the pop, or is it Raging Phoenix for the OTKs? And I think that Raging Phoenix's ability to OTK more easily makes it better than Ambluale. If we're talking like, because that's the scope you kind of have to think about it within, right? If you think about it like in terms of just like what you're ending on as far as like your turn 1 end board, then Ambluale and Raging Phoenix are kind of comparable, right? Because Ambluale has the Destroy effect, which for a turn 1 end board might be a little bit better, but it also has a much more restrictive condition attached to that, needing exactly a Link 3 or lower monster to be destroyed. Raging Phoenix only needs a fire monster to be destroyed, and like, duh, all of your monsters are fire except for Diabell, right? And a couple of others, you know, but, so, like, this is much easier to proc than the Ambluale. However, rather than destroy a card on the field, you summon a massive monster. As far as playing into your opponent's turn, yeah, destroying a card is definitely better than summoning one big massive monster a lot of the time. However, when it comes to particularly Zealantis OTKs, the Raging Phoenix makes it so much easier, and that is what I think really pushes it over the edge to make it better than the Ambluale. Like, Snake Eye is one of those decks where if the extra deck was, you know, not even 20, like 18 cards, then yeah, you could totally play both of these options, and you would be totally fine doing that. But because we're restricted to 15, you do have to make a decision, and I think that Raging Phoenix just offers more options in terms of not only being a good end piece, but again, also enabling OTKs, as opposed to Ambluale, which is like a conditionally good turn 1 end piece card. SP Little Knight, it's no question, you literally always play this card. As far as what to take out, that has actually been a little bit of a struggle for me. My initial build, I took Dark out of the extra deck, but I could see a world where taking out Underworld Goddess is correct. I could also see a world where taking out Access Code is correct. And funnily enough, if you look at the breakdown here, it looks like Access Code has been dropped from pretty much the majority of builds here. Now, Selene, which to be fair we're also not seeing here, Selene is also definitely not bad even without Access Code, because you can do the turn 1 line where you set up Appaloosa with the Selene and then still end on IP plus the Flamberge, right? But I'm not seeing Selene here either. I'm also not seeing Sprite Elf, which I've seen a lot of people turn to. Again, this is something I've touched upon in an earlier video, but I saw so many people on Twitter, in my stream chat, in YouTube comments, doom posting about the interaction between Sprite Elf and SP Little Knight. They can't coexist. It's too strong. You can give the SP target protection, and then you can bring it back, and it's too good. But I don't agree with this personally. I mean, I don't think that it's a bad combination of cards to have on the field, Sprite Elf plus SP Little Knight. But I don't think that Elf makes Little Knight so much more broken that Elf has to be banned, or that you have to play Elf in Snake Eye. I don't agree with that notion. I think Elf, when it comes to Snake Eye, is still a very win more card. And honestly, you know, I would, like, right now, again, I have excluded Dark from my build. I would definitely play Dark over Sprite Elf. Like, Dark has come up much more often for me when I played with it than Sprite Elf did when I played with that. So, that's kind of just how I feel as far as, like, that goes. But, yeah, I don't know. It's funny. Like we see Salamang right here. Actually having a fair bit of representation. We never saw it even like having like 0.5% representation before. So it is cool that we're finally seeing it on the chart for the first time here. I do think that Salamangreat will fall off. I think it probably just has a lot of new deck hype right now. But I don't think it's a bad deck either. While I think people will stop playing it, I think it'll still be probably about this power level, right? Of about a 50.2% win rate. That sounds about right. Like a lower tier 3 or like an upper rogue deck is where I would put Salamangreat. So, alright, let's pop on over to Master Duel Meta and look at some tournament results. So, DK Meta Weekly number 111. This was the same day that the new pack came out, if I recall correctly. So, wow, a lot of Rescue Ace builds topping this one here. Looks like he did end up getting one by Snake Eye, one that is rocking the Synchro package. Interestingly enough, they were playing Raging Phoenix, okay. They did play Sprite Elf. So Sprite Elf, you know, much like other options for Snake Eye I've discussed, it's not bad. Like, you can definitely do well playing it, but I personally don't think it's optimal. That said, you don't have to be playing something that's optimal for it to be good. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players confuse those two terms, but good and optimal, those do mean two different things. While the optimal Snake Eye build, in my opinion, doesn't play Elf, you can still play a good Snake Eye deck that is playing Elf. So, okay, we have Rescue Ace here. Not surprising to see it in second place, given that it did so well, you know, getting the most top slots out of the top 16. A lot of Rescue Ace builds, from what I've seen, have been on the double SP Little Knight. That is another common question I've had people ask me. Do I need a second Little Knight? For the most part, no. I think even for Rescue Ace, you could definitely get away with one. There are some decks like Rescue Ace, Memento is another example, that don't have any extra deck monsters, so their extra deck is pretty wide open. And for decks like that, yeah, you probably do want the second Little Knight. That's optimal. But again, as I just said, optimal and good are two different things. An optimal Rescue Ace build probably does play two Little Knight, but a good Rescue Ace build could still play the one. Pretty typical build here. Rockin' Super Poly makes sense. Yeah, it's a pretty typical Rescue Ace build. Ooh, this one is much more atypical. Well, not about much more. But not only is this one Snake Eye Rescue Ace, as we can see, we are playing like a full Snake Eye package here. Also rocking Auroradon cards as well for the Auroradon package. So that's pretty cool to see it do well. Even going so far as to play the Karakuri support. Also, I think very cool. I know a lot of people really don't like Auroradon because generic bad, generic bad, generic bad. But no, I think it's cool. I think it's really neat to be able to see Rescue Ace, a deck like Rescue Ace, be able to have more options like that. Again, Auroradon, I don't think it's optimal for Rescue Ace, but it can still be good too, as well. Also, card is perfectly fine. It does not need to be banned. Can't believe we're still having that discussion. Actually can't believe it. Anyway, here is another 60 card Rescue Ace build. This one not leading into the Snake Eye package, which is a little surprising. I don't think I've seen a pure Rescue Ace build that's been on 60, but as you can see, it can definitely support 60 very easily. Being a deck that pretty much always goes over 40 no matter what, Rescue Ace definitely pretty apt for going well into the extremes there. Here's a 41 card Rescue Ace deck, so this one, again, while close to 40, still over 40 cards there. And again, 2 Little Knight. I think that last one had 2 Little Knight as well, yep. Right here we have another Snake Eye build, also rocking the Synchro package. Also rocking Elf, it's pretty interesting. Alright, we got the Shadow here, I guess the name of the person. Oh, the deck is Rescue Ace Snake Eye. Here's Pearly. Pearly's still doing pretty well in this meta. I think just a very, very solid tier 2 deck. Yeah, it's a pretty standard looking Pearly deck too. Not even on the Ghost Trick package. It is playing Shifter, which is pretty notable, but... Dragon Link. Cropping up every so often. I do keep meaning to return to Dragon Link and make a new deck profile for it at some point. I don't think I've made one since Wyverburster has been banned, but There's so many different ways to build it. I don't know. I just gotta find a build, and well, more than find a build, gotta figure out how to play it. Hey, here it is, Salamangre getting top 16. Love to see it. Good stuff. Oh, I love Sal. It's such a cool deck. Ooh, this is Bestial Runic. We haven't seen this in a hot minute, but yeah, very very cool deck. Very cool to see it topping again. Here's another Snake Eye Rescue Ace. This one at 55 cards. Drytron. Wow. Wow, when was the last time we've seen this deck? But here it is. 50 card list, making the top 16 cut here. Branded sneaking in here as well as another Pearly list. Also, not running the Ghost Trick package on this one. Tearlament with the Horus stuff. Yep, here is that as well. Alright. Alright, so that's it for that Meta Weekly. There was also the 1K Meta Championship Series here as well. So I believe this was, yeah, invite only. People who have topped the Decade Meta Weeklies. Still 181 participants is pretty wild. And as you can see, yeah, when the stakes are higher, people definitely buckle down a little bit more and bring some more quote-unquote serious decks. That is to say, there are lots of Snake Eye decks at top tier. And indeed, it was Snake Eye that ended up winning the whole tournament here. Another pure build here with the Synchros. We got another Snake Eye deck coming in second place here. This one also pure with the Synchros, but playing a lot of really interesting stuff. Most notably the War Arthur in the Gamma package, as well as the Magician Souls. More Snake Eye here, also on Synchros. Another Snake Eye pure with Synchros. Snake Eye Rescue Ace. Oh, I played against this person in the Challenger Cup. I remember this person, yeah. I think we played in Top Cut, actually. Awesome. Cool to see them doing well. Here is Rescue Ace Snake Eye with the Auroradon package yet again. I think this might have even been the same person. I don't remember the name of the last one, but... Oh, hey, here's another person I played in the Challenger Cups. I don't think this one was Top Cut. I think we played in one of the last Swiss rounds, but... they were on Dino when I played against them, and they're on Dino here as well. Making top 8 in the big invitational tournament with Dinos, when we see so many Snake Eyes topping, is very, very cool. Congrats there. Got another Synchro. Well, it's only got the Boar Load, but another pure Snake Eye list there. Some more pure Snake Eye action, although this one does have the Catch Shira package as well. Coop. Hey, Coop. Coop is part of the... Discord, I'm pretty sure. Well, I know I see Coop in the streams all the time, so congrats, Coop, for topping with Rescue Ace here. Good stuff. Hell yeah, that's awesome. Another Rescue Ace build here. More Snake Eye action going on. And Drytron also making top 16 of the big one. As well as more Rescue Ace and Snake Eye here. Alright. Good stuff. So, friend of the channel, and just in general, honestly, Morgana95 held a No Max C tournament this past weekend. Had 50 participants. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Glad to hear that went so well for you, Morgana. The breakdown here is pretty interesting. Lots of Snake Eye, lots of Horus, lots of Tier. Let's take a look at what ended up topping here. Looks like it was Snake Eye. Again, of course, it's going to be No Max C's in the list here. Snake Eye with the Synchro stuff. Yep. Lawn. Yeah, I've referenced Lawn's Sky Striker decks for videos before when I've covered Sky Striker. So, cool to see Lawn getting second place here with Sky Striker. Very, very nice. Looks like Volcanic took 3rd/4th here. Volcanic Snake Eye, that is, with a Horus package too. Ooh, this is kind of spicy. Here we have Tier with Snake Eye. Also 53, no, it was 60 cards. I don't know why I thought it was 53. Also Jeff, what's up, Jeff? Hell yeah, good stuff. Beautiful, nice top 4 there. A couple more lists, a couple more tournaments to look at here. Master Cup number 44. Looks like it was won by more Pure Snake Eye with the Synchros. So here's Pure Snake Eye, no cashiers, but playing an all-link package extra deck here. That is something I've kind of considered before, but I think if you're going to go pure... Oh, hell yeah! Here's Adventure Horus Phantom Knight, which we actually just covered on the channel recently. Love to see it, love to see it. But I do think if you're going to go pure Snake Eye without the Cashiros, like, you might as well play the Synchros. Like, you only need to commit to Jet Synchron for the main deck, and then, I don't know, it's like, I think that the Synchros are better than, like, Pit Knight Airly and Heat Soul, personally, but they're kind of comparable at the same time, so, such a cool list here. Horus Phantom Knight, so cool to see that do well. Got a 40 card. Wow, look at this 40 card branded maining 3 Phantasme. That's wild. Alright, another Snake Eye deck there. Oh, this is Plunder Chimera getting top 8. Hell yeah. That's cool. That's really, really cool to see. It's always funny when you see 2 decks that are really hurt by Ash Blossom, like, jammed together. Because it's like, well, if one line gets Ash, you can just go to the other one. You know, so. Also, speaking of Ash, no Ash Blossom in this deck, which is kind of interesting. Huh. Very, very interesting list overall. Alright. Snake Eye with the Synchros yet again here. Another Snake Eye list here. Alright, one more tournament list to look at. The third I Cup. So this is going to be the big 5v5 tournament series here. This is going to be the third one. Maxi is also banned for this tournament series as well. It's also a team tournament, so we're going to see multiple lists per placing here. So first place we have Horus Tier, Rescue Ace Snake Eye with the Auroradon package, Pure Snake Eye, Cashiers and all links. Hey, another Horus Phantom Knight. Ooh, with super polys too. Wow. Not playing Maxi. Not playing hand traps at all. Look at this. No hand traps whatsoever. That's wild. Horus Naturia. Oh, I've been having a ton of fun playing this deck. Although I don't think many people think that deck is particularly fun. And another Kashira all-link Snake Eye deck here. Evil Family Team taking second place with Branded. Featuring the Puppet Lock. You know, it is what it is. Band Sanctifier. Anyway. They were also rocking a Pearly deck. Ooh, Vanquish Soul action going on. Okay, okay. Got some Rescue Ace Snake Eye. As well as Kashira Snake Eye. Although synchros with the Kashiras. That's pretty interesting. Okay. Kashira Snake Eye all link extra deck. Alright. Okay, so there we have it. As far as like how the new pack has helped shape out the meta, as you can see, it's had quite an impact. Not even just in the form of SP Little Knight, as everyone predicted, but also we see the Horus cards cropping up. We see Salad sneaking in for top cut. Memento does end up being the weaker of the decks, but definitely still a solid rogue deck. Even if we don't see it represented really in tournament tops, I think definitely still a pretty solid deck overall. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you everybody so much for watching it all. Let us now move to our outro. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. That means a lot to me. It's also a great way to support the channel, so thank you very much in that way as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways, like the very special patrons that I am thanking here, you can do so by checking out some of the links in the description. One of those goes to the Patreon, where you can join these fine folk and support the channel that way. I do post daily content over on Patreon, so you do get something for supporting there. And if you're interested, I also have a coaching tier option as well. Details again will be on Patreon in the link below. Also in the description linked below is my Twitch page where I stream a few times a week. You can go ahead and check that out, follow or subscribe over there if you ever want to catch me live. You'll also find my second YouTube channel if you feel like subscribing over there to watch some of the Twitch VODs as well as some additional non-Yu-Gi-Oh related content that I make over there. Again, any of those links you want to check out is all a great way of supporting. But again, even if you don't do that, just watching was also a fantastic way to support. And once again, I have to thank you so very much. But in any case, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, and I'm hoping you have a fantastic day.